Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
The high-level seminar on 2 decades of democratic elections in the Ecowas member states, achievement, challenges, and the way forward has come to a close with recommendations for the revision of the Ecowas Protocol on democracy and good governance as a countermeasure to curb political violence in the sub-region. The parliamentarians noted that the selfishness of politicians holding on to power beyond constitutional limit has been rooted in the cause of the lingering political crisis in the region, thus recommending for a study to be conducted for the adoption of regional standards to govern electoral processes in order to correct the anomalies that have eaten the fabrics of the region, adding that a direct universal suffrage should also be adopted for electing members of the community parliament to consolidate democracy and good governance across Ecowas. While reading the recommendation at the event, Honorable Zago Stevens said guaranteeing the independence of election management agencies as well as regulating electoral campaigns and monitoring mechanisms will contribute meaningfully to securing peaceful elections in the region.
Security service and inclusive peaceful democratic election in the West African region. 1. Adoption of measures to guarantee the independence and neutrality of security service and their involvement as stakeholders in the electoral process. 2. Provision of adequate material, human, and financial resources to security services and their operational capacity building for an effective coverage of the entire electoral process. 3. Promotion of cooperation and collaboration among security services of Ecowas member states to share best practices in electoral security. On the role of the judiciary in the conduct of election, electoral dispute before, during, and after the election, the following were made. 1, which is the last sheet. Consolidation of the independence and impartiality of the judiciary by national parliaments through adequate legislation. Promotion and dissemination by the judiciary of the legal framework on the organization and participation in elections to enable candidates and stakeholders in the electoral consultation to know all legislative and regulatory provision governing election in case they wish to challenge election input or to lodge an appeal in the event of electoral dispute. On the role of political parties, adoption by Ecowas member states of a legislation on the democratic governance of political parties, transparency in party financing, and the separation of their resources and activities from those of the government. Institution of national dialogue framework to help unite political actors around the major concerns of the nation and to seek consensus on electoral issues by adhering to an electoral charter indicating the rules and behavior to be upheld by political organizations and political parties during election period.
Also, in his closing remarks, the Speaker, Ecowas Parliament, Honorable Sidi Tunis, therefore urged member states to ensure the inclusion of the Ecowas Supplementary Protocol on democracy and good governance into their national laws to eliminate countries' electoral shortcomings. According to him, achieving credible elections requires meeting with international best practice. Hence, countries need more reliable strategies to provide good and inclusive governance so as to address citizens' aspirations.
Our aims and actions as leaders of our communities are to make the lives of our people better. This is why we must cast off all threats to our democracies, not only by words but by action. Each and every one of us has a responsibility to create a sustainable environment for democracy to flourish in this sub-region. If we believe that the rule of law must be upheld and that the freedom to vote and be voted for is a human right, we must reject and eject obstructive forces that prevent us from conducting inclusive and peaceful democratic elections. The time is right for us to stand firm and work towards the democratic future of our community. The Parliament remains committed to the promotion of the principles of human rights, democracy and rule of law, transparency, accountability, and good governance. Consequently, I wish to assure you that the outcome of this seminar will be shared with the community decision makers as well as all our stakeholders. By so doing, we want to ensure that the common man enjoys his democratic rights and votes in every election in the sub-region counts.
The high-level seminar on 2 decades of democratic elections in the Ecowas member states, achievement, challenges, and the way forward, held in Winnipeg, Ghana, is geared to identifying the leading causes of the destruction of democratic rule in Mali and Guinea. But these parliamentarians are optimistic that if member countries adhere to the supplementary protocol developed in 2001 as an expression of a new collective political resolve of ECOWAS member states to take the process of preventing and resolving crises and violent conflict, and with core mandates to achieving peace and security through the development of democracy and good governance, political instability would be lowered. Vincent Okushi, Quality Television.